Hey guys, this is week 2 of the communication risk and stakeholder management class, and today we'll be looking at some of the key techniques or methods that should be used by a project manager to communicate effectively. So communication is actually the glue that holds together a project. Without communication by team members, the project could be doomed for failure. Now, in as much as we want the project manager to be the one leading the project, he can't be communicating and using up too much time in communication. He actually has to make sure that there's a plan that needs to be followed in order to make sure that communication is done effectively. So in order to do this, some of the techniques or methods that a project manager can use include coming up with a project management plan. So in this project management plan, the project manager should actually identify the 5 W's. It's who needs to be in the communication management plan, what needs to be communicated, where communication has to occur, how it needs to be communicated, when it needs to be communicated. So some of these things include emails or SharePoint, a place where you're going to store all the data that is going to be used by the project. Now, some of the issues that come up within a project are because there's probably a failure of communication somewhere. So when you have a project a communication management plan, this actually gets rid of a lot of those issues. So next we have what are the do's and don'ts as a project manager when communicating with the project team and the stakeholders. So when communicating with the project team, project manager should make sure that they manage the client's expectations. So what does this mean? This means that whenever something occurs, the project manager should communicate with the client and tell them what's happening with the project. If the project is falling behind, if the project is short on funds, if the project is not delivering as expected, the project manager should make sure that he is managing the client's expectations in this way. So another thing that the project manager should do is not overplan. So the project manager should not plan for every single detail, because what ends up happening is that if you plan for every single detail, when that small detail goes wrong, you are going to stop the whole project, and that's what we are looking to avoid. We are looking to make sure that the project still goes on despite the little details that come up. So moving over to the don'ts. So the project manager should not overstep his responsibilities. So what do we mean? We mean that the project manager should not micromanage the team members to the extent where they are unable to do their responsibilities or the issues that they have been tasked to come up with. So another thing is that the project manager should not try to control the project team members, but he should monitor what they are doing. He should make sure he knows everything that's going on without actually controlling the team members and making them look like they're not actually doing the task that's supposed to be done. So next we look at what are the major components of a communication management plan. Now, according to the PM book, the major components include what needs to be communicated. What's the information? Are there reports that needs to be communicated? Are there status reports? Are there variance reports? So all this information needs to be communicated. Why it needs to be communicated? What's the reason for this communication? Who is the communication between? Are we trying to update the stakeholders? Are we trying to pass information to the project sponsor? What's really going on? Next, what's the best method to communicate? So is it email? Is it fax? Do you need a phone number? Are we going to use presentations? Are we going to use slides? All this information has to be identified. So next we'll be looking at why is the communication plan vital for project success? So the communication plan is vital for project success because it provides a framework, right? And this framework actually tells us how information is going to be communicated between the project team, the project sponsor, the project stakeholders. It provides a smooth flow of information because when the project gets very complex, there needs to be a channel that needs to be followed in order to know who you need to talk to get what done. What reports are you looking to get? So these are some of the reasons why a communication plan is vital for a project. Next, we look at who is the most important person or group in the communication and why? So in my opinion, the most important person or group is actually the project team. So why do I say this? This is because the project team actually does work on the ground. The project team is responsible for the success or failure of the project. If your project team is not performing, then you're not going to have a successful project. So the project manager should also seek to have a more diverse team, since it has actually been proven that more diverse teams perform way better than less diverse ones. So the project team has to make sure that the project is actually a success. So information in the communication management plan should be actually communicated by the project team to all the various stakeholders, making sure that it's being reported as it is happening on the ground. So the project team is actually the most important group in the communication management plan. Thank you.